Good morning, and I'll give you 3 guesses at where Grumpy Dunk is today. You won't get it, at all. I'm back in the UK. I've been back in the UK for a couple of weeks now, but I'm somewhere very, very special. I always am. But I'm here in the Pennines, in the industrial Pennines. Pennines being the centre of England, the range of hills, mountains that run up through the middle of England, called the Pennines. So I am here in a wonderful area called Nenthead, near the village of Alston, right in the Pennines. Big hills, rolling moorland, absolutely nothing around apart from sheep and bushes. But I'm going to give you a spin round just to show you some of the ruins of the old mine workings. We're going to have more later on, but I'll give you a quick look for now. Some more of the mine workings behind me here, like the water wheel, and more of the sides. Obviously, I'll turn you round. The wind's really blowy up here, so the sound is going to be pretty poor. But these are also the ruins of the mine. If you have a look round. There we go. Alright, and that was the first there you go, there you go. Anyway, right, okay. I'll finish now and we'll have a look a bit later on. Thank you. And I'm not sure if you can see the wheel here, but this is where water ran down this little runnel here onto the wheel, and that would drive the grinders and the shakers for sorting out ore and rock to get the minerals and the iron out of it. Bit of wind blowing today, so you may not hear me too much. I hope you can, and we'll chat later on. So, in the mine building here, we have various maps of the area. These are geological maps showing the different types of rock, land, and possibly where there were faults, which are breaks in the land, where mines or metal ore could possibly be. As you can see up in the big photo here, let's turn the camera around. This was Nenthead in its heyday. Some of the pottery that's been found, you see bottles and jugs, and here glass bottles, and also here a shoe, children's shoe, maybe a women's shoe, various other things, buttons, oil cans. And the famous one, danger, mine workings, keep out. And that's very true these days. You've got to be careful where you're walking around the hills up here, because there are still old mine workings, shafts, big holes in the ground, where literally people fall through, never seen again, or sadly, they do get seen again, but they're in a bad way, you know what I mean? So up here, there we go, some of the mine workers, circa 1900, so that would be what? I don't know, 200 years ago, something like 220 years ago, long time ago. There we go. And more other stuff here in the cupboards, pipes. Here we go, lots of things all associated with the industry of mining here in the Pennines. And here in this cabinet, just here, some of the minerals and the ore that's been found. So let's have a look at that, shall we? Spin the camera around. So we're inside one of the main mine buildings. You can see here with, or like many outdoor people, they survive on cake, tea, biscuits, and I'll give you a quick look at that as well.
Okay, so we're in the North Pennines, yeah, high upland area. If you go back hundreds and hundreds of years, mining has gone on here in the North Pennines, mainly for lead minerals, but also for zinc minerals and fluorine minerals. And you can sort of go right back to like 1100, somewhere around in the North Pennines there was mining going on. And it really goes on until the present day. So we still have a little coal mine at Alston, and we have a fluorine mine over the hill in Weardale as well, right? So it's mining still happening, but essentially by about 1999 everything's closed down. Lots of parts of England and Wales and Scotland have mining like this, right? So why is this site so important? The answer is because lots of mine sites around the country have been demolished, landscaped, you know, disappeared off the face of the earth. And about 25 years ago, Historic England decided we need to protect this place and look after it. So it's an ancient monument where we are, just like, you know, Stonehenge, Tower of London, places like that. It's that important nationally. Why did you pick this place? That's because, believe it or not, we've got like, not the most remains, but more than some places, right? And the big key here is, thinking of Chris and the links particularly, is that you can go literally miles and miles and miles underground, walking without having to climb. You might have to swim a bit, go and crawl a bit, but you know.
Not today.
So if you like the fun of going underground, you can do masses and masses of it. You can spend whole holidays here and still only see a bit of it, right? So that's a big attraction as well. So somebody thought you should be protected and preserved. There's also things like very important geology, that's protected a bit as well. And we've got wildflowers that grow on the ground here, because you know, so it's a polluted area, this obviously. Lots of zinc, cadmium, lead in the ground. Things don't grow, but some plants can tolerate it. So we've got those growing on the site as well. So basically that's why we're at it and why we protect it. We're a charity, as Joyce has mentioned, and education is our main objective, if you like. And so everything we do is based around that. You could say as well that, you know, when you're younger, like some of us once were, you can go exploring underground and crawl and hang off ropes and ladders.
Some still are.
Some still do that, yeah. But when you can't do that anymore, what you do is come here and show other people. So we're into sharing, and that's what we're about. And so Chris really did join in that sharing. He found it somewhere. He found an old Georgian penny, and we used to use that underground as one of his party tricks as well. And then, of course, one of the things about minerals here is zinc, and that makes brass. So there was that military connection as well. So we had a couple of shell cases, little ones, you know, not massive First World War or anything. So again, it was all good stuff, and that's what you have to play on when you're doing guiding around here. It's something you can talk about, and something the visitor likes as well. So, enough of me talking.
Okay.
What we're going to do, for those of you who want to go down the mine, we've got helmets, lamps, and so on. Temperature's about 6 to 7 degrees this morning. Okay, so if you want to go underground, we can get a helmet, we can get a lamp, and we can go underground.
It is. It's about.
So, haha, hello. Got a hat on my head now. We are walking off to the entrance of the mine. We're actually going to go in the mine, so I'm going to see how filming is. The wind is horrific, but it'll be okay. And as you can see, there's a nice little group of us. There's about 10 of us. So we're going to see how we go on, and I'll see what it's like in the mine. Alright, catch you later. Here we are at the entrance to the mine. There we go, we're going in here, the whole group of us, They're all stood looking at me because I'm talking to a camera. But well, I'm used to that anyway. Here we go.
Just hang on here a minute.
Yep.
Yep, right. Yeah. So, we need to help each other turn our lights on.
Here we go. Lights on, ready to go. Underground. There we go. And there's no jam involved. That's a bit of a joke, by the way. Okay. See you later. Love you all. Can you see all right? Getting colder. It's getting darker. All right. I'm just testing where the roof is. Oh, it's getting a little bit higher.
Oh, it's better.
That's better, yep. Yep.
Keep going so we get let the crowd in a wee bit, if that's okay. The trouble with old mines, of course, they're not designed to bring groups of people like us. They tend to, you can imagine, typical workplace will be two guys driving a tunnel where we walk through. It's not very big, is it? And you can only get really two people on the working face at any one time. And of course, you only take out the minimum amount of rock to get to where you want to go to, because the more rock you take out, the more money it costs. So what we've walked through this sort of loose grey rock, which geologically is a shale, a mudstone if you like, laid down in an ocean about 300 million years ago. Different coloured bands in it, you probably notice, you can see here, you've got oranges, greys, limestone, mainly calcium carbonate and so on, and it's got impurities, iron, which gives it that orange colour. Now, those of you who stood where I am, if somebody can shine the light up there, you can see there's a grey mark here. Somebody stick their fingers in it and tell me what it feels like. Throwing right across.
Oh, it's quite wet and muddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the target, if you like, that the old miners were looking for. They're looking for what they call mineral veins. You see, we've got two ways. When you go on the left-hand way, watch out because the water channel switches to the right-hand side as we walk through. As you walk through, you'll come to a left turn. We're going to take that left turn, right? So don't walk straight on, keep going left. Okay? All right? Okay.
Yep.
Into this space here a bit, yeah? I don't know if you can smell it, but I lit some tallow candles about 2 hours ago. Yeah, can you smell it? And an interesting situation. So 2 hours ago, that was a tallow candle about the height of that lantern. You see what we've got left. We find from the old accounts, the old miners, obviously that was all the lighting form they had, was just tallow candles. And they were going with a bundle of about 8 or 9 around the neck. You see on photographs of them still using candles up to about 1900. And there's another one over there. And so in Alston there is a candle factory, and the owner is a vegetarian, right? So we asked him to make some tallow candles for us, which he did eventually, much to his grumpiness. But yeah, the point's well made, isn't it, that you only get about 2 hours light from a tallow candle. Whereas if you use a modern paraffin wax candle, you know, we're going to get a bit longer. In fact, you can get about 7 hours out of a paraffin wax candle, even the IKEA ones. So they're okay. Why we brought you in here is because sometimes the lead and zinc that we're looking for is not found in those fault lines, those breaks in the Earth's crust. Chemically, it changes the rock around it as it's forming, and it just sort of replaces the limestone completely. And so this sort of cave-like hole we're studying is where something like that almost certainly happened. So it wouldn't have been solid mineral wall to wall, there'd be rock mixed in, but there'd be a considerable amount of the lead or the galena, lead sulfide, in this area, and that's why the guys are dug it out. And if we think about before things like dynamite were invented, which is what, about 1870, then all we've got to go on is gunpowder, which came into England from Bohemia in about 1690. And so I've got some gunpowder here. So I don't want to waste it. So we've got some gunpowder there, yeah? So you can see.
Do you want a light for that?
Yeah.
So think of fireworks and what happens if you light fireworks, if you still indulge, in fireworks, is that it burns with lots of smoke and flames, doesn't it? And great stuff. But it doesn't really do anything other than that. So what the miners found was we need to drill a hole and put the gunpowder in it. So we started the hole already for
That's
you.
gunpowder.
And this is a classic miner's hammer here. So
Nobody wants a gunpowder. Nobody wants it.
If I knock this place down, it's not my
yeah.
problem.
You won't. So we're doing this for probably about 7 or 8 hours with a couple of breaks. We need probably 2 or 3 holes in a day. And if you look around the walls to you behind you, you'll see there's evidence of where there's been holes drilled and blasted. There's one up above us there. There, can you see it? Just above the roof where Duncan's got his camera. There, you see like there's half the hole left. Just there. So that's the sort of length we've got to drive it. Bring it out, get the mud out, yep. And Louise, in goes the gunpowder. Oh, sorry, no, you're giving it on, right, shucks. So, gunpowder goes in the hole, right? If we were to light that now, it wouldn't do very much. So we're going to tamp it tight. First thing we're going to need to do is get this tamper bar. Do you want to say anything about a tamper bar, anybody? What do you think it's made of? Which was fun. I'm sure you've probably never seen a casualty like this, those of you who work in the health service, but yeah, there are accidents clearly recorded where I'm doing this, tamping it tight with my steel tamper bar, and the spark is created and the tamper bar goes through somebody's eye, which is a lot of accidents like that where you get blind miners. They live to a ripe old age, but they're blind. So that's a problem. So brass tamper bar, tighten it up, put some clay in, bits of old newspaper, brown paper they talk about. And then we have a pricker bar, which is again a brass bar, which sits on top like that in the groove. So that goes through our fill, which we've put in on top of the gunpowder. So we pull the tamper bar out, and we leave the pricker bar in, and then we gently pull that out. And here we've made a homemade fuse out of some, again, brown paper, with a trickle of gunpowder down the middle, perhaps. Stick that in, light it with a candle, and then just run like mad. Literally, the old descriptions, talk about them doing that. And of course the problem is, we've made these at home, right? So it might burn for 5 seconds, it might burn for 20 seconds. It's a bit of a risk. Later on somebody invented a patent fuse, a guy from Cornwall, wasn't it? Mr. Bickford, who you could say, I want a fuse that will burn for, 30 seconds, 2 minutes, whatever. And you would be guaranteed it would. So that was 1850. So, rough and ready method, you might say, but advance on having to do this by hand. Before gunpowder came along, it was all crowbars, hammers and chisels, very slow rate of mining. In Derbyshire, there's records where they knew it was going to take them like 30 years to get to the objective, right? Because this was before gunpowder came along. So you just imagine that sort of scale of thinking. I mean, a lot of the companies we have in the UK, they can't even think for 2 years ahead, I don't think, never mind 30, but never mind. So what we're looking for when we've blasted our explosive is something like this. So pass the piece round, take the hammer off, it's alright, you're not going to do any more. another piece of the panel here. So what we're after is mineral called lead sulfide, which is about 60-65% lead element. The rest is sulfur, few impurities. We'll lend them some money. Like, think of it as pay. And then at the end of, say, 6 months, it'd settle up so they'd use it.
Right, we're going up a ladder now, so we're making progress going upwards, but only to another level. Okay, I'll spin you around. Here we go. That's the ladder section complete.
One of the things that people like to go down old mines is collecting rocks. I'm sure if you know anybody who does go down old mines, the window ledge is full of rocks and shiny things and whatnot. And so we thought we've got a big collection of sort of some rather rare stuff, and we always have too much. And if you look at some of these, we've got labels on, right? So we've got calcite here, which is CaCO3. We find lots of this and all over the Pennines, you know, on the mine dumps. Usually,
That's the white stuff all over the walls as well,
yeah.
isn't it?
So there's lots of that here, some more there. This is a volcanic rock which somebody has brought us recently from Scotland. So it's not a mineral that's of economic value, but they said, you'll see why in a minute. Uranium ore here, which came from Debenham. This is another kind of like a pegmatite that came from, I think it's, Shetland, that one. We've got mineral here, barytes, which is barium sulfate, yeah. Barium meals, etc. X-rays, they still use it for X-rays? Yeah. So again, not particularly shiny, but it's interesting. You get some nice crystals on there. So if we put ultraviolet light on some of this, wow. Uranium, that's the volcanic thing from somewhere in Scotland. Calcite there, lovely pink calcite there. Look at that one, that's another calcite. That's the barytes. Look at that one there. See the red? Okay, got it? Yeah. Barytes there, doesn't do much that. And that's that scapolite from Shetland.
What's it, this on fire?
Yeah, fantastic that one, isn't it? Yeah.
Wow.
And then hydrozincite, like on the roof here, little bits of it there. That's that zinc sulfide. Doesn't do anything, yeah? Little specks of fluorite probably landed on it, but nothing much. Fluorite there. What's that one? That's another calcite, very much like the one at the top there, that sort of red fluorescence. And again, back to, I think that, yes, that's some zinc sulfide, isn't it? It doesn't do much at all. And then here, the big lumps of fluorite, right? Wow. Yeah. A French fluorspar, you know.
So that is the end of our little mine tour underground. We're going to have a little bit of a talk later on, and I'm going to have a chat to other people later on. But for now, this is the exit. I'll spin you around. Lovely little waterfall. All this is waste from the mine, basically. All the way down the valley. There we are. Boom.